Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown. This week featuring Wake up, wake up. Can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Make it strong, please. Hey. Ho. Hey. Wake up, wake up. No, really, can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up.
This is a single available on all streaming platforms.
Extended dance remix.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, December 22nd. This is Wake Up in Provincetown. I'm Bob.
I'm Harrison.
Good to see you again.
I know, good to see you. It's been millions of years.
I missed one show.
I know, but like when me and Bob do this every Friday, we work together all summer at the Red Inn, so like 2 weeks is such a long time to not see you. Yeah. You've been well?
I've been very well.
Good.
It was a nice visit to my family in Delaware for Christmas.
I thought it was for a Mariah Carey concert.
That too. Look, I made one of these for my sister and one for me, and we wore these.
Oh my God, I love
and I was
that.
like, she's gonna see us.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting. It was.
I don't know her.
You were asking me how my trip home was.
Mm-hmm.
A real quick story about my friend Paul's nursing school graduation. So Wednesday night was this concert. Thursday, Paul graduated from nursing school. His 4 best college friends, we were like sitting front row, and they're like reading out the names of the people graduating, and one of his classmates' names was, so the announcer was like, Lisa McCooch. And I like look at my friend Lindsay, and she's like, and then we just can't stop laughing about this person's name. And then as soon as that line of students left the stage, I leaned over, I was like, where'd McCooch go?
Oh my God.
And then we were like literally I'm like, I felt like I was 12 years old all over again, laughing about some girl's name. Yeah. And then there was another person whose last name was Flood. And then after the ceremony was over, when we finally got to say hi to Paul and his mom, I was like, if Joanne Flood married Lisa McCooch, would they be Flood McCooch or McCooch Flood? How would you hyphenate that name?
As someone whose last name is Fish, I think a lot about hyphenating last names. And when it's not a good idea, it's not a good idea.
Flood McCooch. No, and then we were like, Paul, did they mispronounce your friend's name? And he's like, she is so into it.
I
She's
love
like, hey,
that.
I'm McCooch.
Work. Good for her.
So congratulations. Her first name's not Lisa, but congratulations to the McCooches, the Floods, and my friend Paul Wallace for graduating nursing school.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
I know. He's about to embark on it's really like a third career. And he's only like 41.
Wild.
I know.
I have yet to have a career.
You have a career.
How was the Mariah Carey show?
She was great.
Of course.
It was super fun.
Was it like a Christmas concert? Is that the idea of it? Or was it like, did you do like We Belong Together with like a Jingle Bell?
So it was like mostly Christmas songs. And then in the final act of the show, there was like, she called it MC's 2023 hit list.
Oh.
Like a greatest hits medley.
Work.
Really,
it's like,
really
what else do
fun.
you want?
She was doing Honey to the Heartbreaker beat and then Heartbreaker to the Honey beat.
That would have made my head explode.
I know. I was like, what? Because I'm like, I've seen her a couple times now. I was like, this I've never seen. And I don't think I've ever heard that version, but it was great fun. Super, super fun.
Did Ariana Grande come out?
No, I'm so bitter because Ariana Grande and Jennifer Hudson came out in the New York show. I saw her in Philly. And then at the Baltimore show, Debrat came out.
Who came out in your show?
Nobody. Every city got a special guest except Philadelphia.
That's fine. All you need is Mariah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was a good time. I'm happy to be home because, like I was telling you earlier, I woke up in 6 different places in 8 days, and it's very disorienting.
Yeah.
I saw Kathy Griffin once in Wilmington, Delaware, and she goes, "What's up, Philly?" And the whole place booed her. And I'm like, now I know why she did that. Because like when you wake up in a different place every day, you're like, where am I?
Right.
So Kathy Griffin, you may work again. Uncanceled.
That's why she was canceled?
That's why she was canceled.
Just not a Divas Christmas Carol.
Yeah. So
was she in that?
Yeah. She was the ghost of Christmas Past.
Before I canceled her.
Right. Yeah, last Friday, me and Todd, you remember Todd from ghosting with me last Monday in full drag. Impressive. Todd decided to spend the whole day like this and kept the same face on until our gig at 7:00 at night.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you so much to
which is
Donna for
wild.
filling in last Friday in such beautiful fashion.
I know. I think I have a pic of that. Do I? Work. Sam is behind the computer today helping us out, so I just wanted to make sure.
Every time somebody comes on here in full face first thing in the morning and they have a gig that night, I'm like, you're not going to stay like that all day, are you?
Have you ever painted your face in drag?
Not myself.
If
no.
you had, you'd be like, I'm keeping this on. It just takes it takes like 2 hours to paint your face like that.
I know, but then don't you like, that can't be good for your pores and stuff.
No.
How was the gig at night?
It was really fun. We had a really good crowd of a few wake up viewers in the crowd. Tons of fun. It is a movie that you might not enjoy just watching home alone at yourself. But if you're in a room with a bunch of gay people and queer people and 2 drag queens making fools of themselves, it's a vibe. It's fun. Yeah. I do love that movie. I think it's so campy and terrible, and the music is great. There's no better version of Sleigh Ride.
Does Chili sing it?
Good.
Vanessa Williams sings it.
Chili doesn't sing in the movie?
No, it's very, like, I know Chili's voice from growing up with TLC, and it's very clear that as you listen to it, she's not on the track. Oh. Like, it's definitely Vanessa Williams with some backup singers recording all the music, and then they brought in the people to pretend they were singing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it was a fun night. It was really cute.
What else did you get up to this week?
I also had the Provincetown Theater's Townie show, 2 more shows of that. So
there are 2 more?
No.
Oh.
There were 2 more shows after last Friday.
Oh.
So last Friday I had done one the night before for Thursday, and then did the Saturday and Sunday show. It was incredible. Such a fun show. So often you go to see like Townie shows and it's kind of everyone sings a song, which is amazing and fun. But this was so different because like some people did monologues, some people read poetry, people did original songs. It just was like a much more mixed bag of talents, and it was really cute. Nice. Yeah. It was honestly an honor and to sing with Eden and Peter, 2 of my favorite people in town.
Peter Toto?
Yeah. Peter and Eden Allegretti. We did the Stevie Wonder song. Someday
I just called this. That's a Stevie Wonder song.
That one is good.
That's exactly how he sang it.
Yeah. He actually sang it. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
Good.
I also want to congratulate Ethan, our cameraman. He got his license this past week, so we all got this much less safe on the roads. Just kidding.
If you think that you've been seeing Ethan drive around before he legally had his license, then you think all black people look the same. That was not Ethan driving around before today.
Oh my God, you're a monster. Another thing I did this past Sunday was the season finale of Guild. You didn't watch.
I haven't seen any of it yet.
Okay. I do want to recommend it because so often, and I think about shows like Game of Thrones that you watch, and it's so clear that they want to get reactions from their audience. So they're like, that character you love, we're going to make them die. Or that character you love, we're going to have something bad happen to keep you like emotionally invested. And Gilded Age just kind of does the opposite. It's like, nothing is going to matter. Nothing crazy is going to happen. Kind of sit back and relax. Like nothing bad's going to, even when something horrible happened, literally an episode or 2 later, they'll be like, oh my God, just kidding. Like I got a letter and we're out of it. Like,
and you like that?
Kind of. It's just nice to not have to stress watching a TV show.
Comfort viewing.
Yeah, and like everything in the season 2 finale, everything you want to happen for the characters happens, and it's just nice. I just watched it. I was like, the whole finale. I was like, hey, everything good is happening.
Maybe it's over. Maybe that's a wrap.
Maybe there is. It might or might not get a season.
Oh,
3.
it might not come back.
Yeah, it just hasn't been greenlit yet. Oh. I mean, I would just watch that. I'm like, I can only imagine how much the show costs. The costumes are wild, and honestly, a good enough reason to watch it alone. The costumes are incredible, but we'll see. And the cast is incredible. Christine Baranski.
Isn't Christine Baranski about to start working with Murray Bartlett?
Yes. It just got announced that I forgot the name of the show.
9 Perfect Strangers or 9 Total Strangers?
9 bitchy people on an island.
No.
9 bitchy people on an island. That was his last. No, 9 Perfect Strangers.
It is.
Yeah, he's gonna join as a lead for season 2 opposite Nicole Kidman, which is so exciting. 2 of my favorite Australians. If they just get Savant jump in, it'll be a trifecta of my favorite Australians.
Plus Christine Baranski.
Congratulations,
Murray and Nicole and Christine.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that.
Another thing that happened this past Monday that I'm sure we'll talk about later in the show with Quinn and Michelle There was really crazy weather this past Monday. Were you in town for it?
No, I was still in Delaware, but
was it bad there?
No, that's the thing. Is my friend Elizabeth, who lives in Ohio but who loves Provincetown and comes here as often as she can. She texted me. She's like, "Are you guys okay?" And I was like, "I'm in Delaware. Why? What's going on?" And she's like, "You need to look and see what's happening in Provincetown right now." And all of the videos were wild. Like, if you think about that house, although remember when we drove out there in 2022, that there's that one white house that sort of iconically sits where the road splits, the water coming up over and splashing into Commercial Street all over again this year too.
Yeah. Not as bad as last time, thank goodness, but still not great. There's a really great article by Paul Benson in the Provincetown Independent if you want to read a little more in depth about everything that happened. Also, it's the end of year, and I know a lot of people like to donate right before the end of the year. And the Local Journalism Project is the nonprofit arm of the Provincetown Independent. And it's basically, it funds all of these incredible young journalists coming in to kind of learn journalism and writing newspaper articles. That's what supports them. So to continue really great, amazing coverage, we're so lucky to have a newspaper like Provincetown Independent in a community like this. And don't you feel like you've noticed the change in the way everyone experiences the town since the Provincetown Independent has come to be? So if you want to continue supporting the amazing work that the Provincetown Independent does, you can donate to the Local Journalism Project on their website, theprovincetownindependent.org. Yeah.
What else? What's going on?
Let's go to Babes and Boys. They're going to fill you in on everything we've got going on this week.
Excellent. When are we moving this?
After.
Us to buy you a minute?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when I was complaining about a local business owner on my last day of work for the year came back the next day and said they only had 2 drinks when they definitely had 3. And so the night before they paid for 3. So I wasn't going to name names because you told me not to.
Don't. Still don't.
Then the other day, an inn in town, let's call it the Anchor Inn, posted on Facebook, "Hey, you guys, a local business owner just stayed with us for 12 days and then skipped out without paying his bill." Because does anybody know the number of this other guest house where we know he is staying now? And I would just like to say this, Harrison Fish, of the Nantucket Fishes.
I wish.
If I had only said the person's name when I first complained about them, this might have never happened. We need to start calling out bullshit people for bullshit behavior when it happens. Because the more people know, like, you need to be aware of this person and their crappy behavior, don't you think?
Yeah. Stealing
Stealing from business owners, stealing from other businesses in town actively, and then trying to gaslight people. When I saw this person in the street 2 weeks after he did it to me, he's like, "Hey, I want to apologize for that moment that we had. Maybe you just gave me a 3rd drink before I had a chance to ask for it. You did that, right?" And I was like, "No, bitch, I didn't do that shit. Don't try it. Do not try it."
Okay. I just want to say that as much as I agree with all that sentiment, and definitely this town could do a little better at calling people out, I would love to approach it from a place of compassion.
Do I not sound compassionate right now?
You're passionate. You sound passionate, not compassionate.
Compassion with passion.
It's worrisome because it seems like this person is going through it, and as much as they are stealing and doing really bad things, it worries me what has brought this person to this point.
It worries me too.
Because also in this town, I'm not forgiving this person, but we also can, in addition to calling people out for their bullshit, supporting people and helping people leave their bullshit behind is also something we could.
No, I'm pretty sure he took all his bullshit with him to the next guest house.
Stop it.
Leave no bag behind.
Let's go to Babes and Boys and everything we've got going on this week.
And the city is quiet. I should be asleep, but I hear
Good morning, everyone. Happy holidays. This week in town shuts down, and we get to kick back and spend some more time with our loved ones. But if you're itching to get out, we got a suggestion for you this week. Water's Edge Cinema is here for you all winter long, but especially this weekend and Christmas Day. And Canteen's Holiday Market offers great selections of last-minute shopping from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. this Friday and Saturday. And with over 25 vendors, you're sure to find something for everyone on your list. On Saturday, Chef Liam, one of our favorites from Salty Market, will be hosting both a holiday pop-up for last-minute shopping needs at Salty and a farm stand ramen pop-up from 2 to 8 p.m. And then on Sunday, Christmas Eve, there's a lot of restaurants in town that are open. Markets and shops open as normal, so you'll be able to get your last-minute shopping in just in time. On Monday, Christmas Day, you'll be surprised at what's open. 361 Coffee is open 7 to noon. Bayside Betsy's all day, breakfast and dinner from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Nappy's will be serving Christmas lunch and dinner from 1:30 to 8. Tin Pan will be offering bar service 2 to 11. Shipwreck also open 4 to close. Porch Bar open 5 to close. Little Bar 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. And cinematically, The Color Purple opens with screenings at Water's Edge at 4 and 7, and Wonka at 4:30 and 7:30. Ooh, it's not a silent night. Definitely on Christmas. Then on Tuesday, Babes and Boys will bring you our second poetry open mic at the Salon at Strangers from 6 to 9 p.m. at Strangers and Saints. Cocktail service and open mic sign up is at 6 p.m. and come and share an evening of poetry and storytelling and play amongst friends. Wednesday, we have bingo at Little Bar, which continues all winter long. Bar service will begin at 4 p.m. and bingo is. And to wrap it all up, on Thursday, winter trivia at the PBC draws in a huge local crowd to test their trivia knowledge at 7 p.m. Come for brain teasers and Sir Kelly Field's bar menu. Happy holidays, Happy everyone. holidays.
Must make an editorial correction. Apparently, the person I was just complaining about paid their bill at the second location.
Work.
In advance.
Good for them.
The Anchorin still looking for 12 nights stay worth of money.
I also just got word from Quinn that the producers of Gilded Age were watching and they just greenlit season 3.
Because they want you to do this.
Exactly.
Yay. Everybody
I'm
gets
so
what they
excited.
want.
Yeah.
No conflict.
Yeah.
Compassion.
Exactly.
Empathy. I have empathy.
Yeah.
What else is going on in the world, Harry?
Let's see. I mean, there was a gay sex scandal this past week. Earlier this week, I woke up to this crazy news.
I know.
So basically, this a Senate staffer was in the Senate meeting room, which was empty. Like, they've got to have cameras in that room, right?
Yeah.
They're not on at all times.
There was at least one camera in the room. And that
They-
camera was filming him having sex on the table in the Senate meeting room. He posted a picture and a video on his close friend's story on Instagram, which is unhinged, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, wow, take it to Twitter.
Right.
But, and I kind of tried to ignore the news because I just was like, how is right wing gonna run with this?
How have they?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it. But this apparently is the second time this has happened. Another staffer has gotten fired for doing this, but it didn't go public, but they found. But this went very public. They tried to find the person whose face wasn't in the video, and there was an image release that
His head was in it.
They were like, but the other person.
No, I know.
But they released a picture, and then it came to light that it was an AI picture, and they're trying to protect the second person by what is it, a red herring?
Right.
Being like, oh, this is who it was.
Oh, but it was an AI.
It was an AI picture.
I mean,
And you could tell because his ears didn't look gray.
I mean, if I was that guy, I'd be like, yeah, it was me.
Would you? I mean, you're gonna get fired from your job.
Not fire.
The
Both
top did too.
No.
We're talking about the top now.
Oh, okay.
Just the other one got fired. The one whose face was in it
Yeah.
and who posted it.
Yeah, the bottom who posted it all over his socials because his face is in it. He
Someone
got fired.
someone was like, "This is what happens when the only pool of candidates that politicians use for their communications directors are the messiest twinks in DC." Like this is what happens when you do that.
Seriously.
In other gay political scandal news, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about him anymore after last week, but George Santos was back in the news. He did an interview with Z-Way. I had reported a couple weeks ago that Z-Way tweeted like, let's do an interview. And he responded, he's like, yes, let's set it up. And I kind of expected it not to actually happen, but this past week it did. It went live on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. It's fully free. They had suggested that it would be pay-per-view, but that didn't end up happening. Z-Way opened the interview by saying, no congressmen were paid for this interview. And then in parentheses it said, even though George Santos asked 3 times. So he's trying to get his bag while it is still a possibility, because I think he even knows that he is going away soon, either from the public eye or straight to prison. Z-Way, who had a show on Showtime last year that unfortunately got canceled. I'm not sure why. It was a really great show, but it's an interview style show. This is her first like kind of serious, I wouldn't say serious, but like it's looked at from a serious lens, because this person, it was a congressperson. He is under like what, 26 counts of God knows what, theft, fraud, the whole thing. But she sold the interview as one jokester and one national joke.
And he did say, he was like, as long as people continue to offer me a platform, I will take it.
So that's
people were like, why are we platforming him? People continue to platform him.
Well, right.
He's going to show up. He's going to do the interview.
One of the first questions Z-Way asked her at Santos was, what could we do to get you good to go away? And it's like, well, don't offer him an interview.
He said that. He said, stop inviting me on your gigs.
But also, I think Z-Way did it in a way that was fun and also held his feet to the fire in a way that seemed non-consequential, but also like she asked him questions that like we all want to know. It's like, did you do it? Like things like that. One of the questions was like, would you rather steal from Sephora or Ulta? And he goes, oh, I don't do petty crimes. She's like, oh, only white collar. One of my favorite questions is, what excites you most about going to prison? And he responded and said, that's a little below the belt, don't you think? And she goes, okay, do you like the color orange?
Getting up in prison.
Oh, right. He did say that he went on Ozempic and lost 100 pounds. She brought up, what was it, Katara Ravache, his drag persona. And he's like, listen, I did drag once. I was 18 years old. And honestly, I wear more makeup today than I did as a drag queen. Which is clear. His face does not move. It's filled, it's plumped, it's Botox.
Painted and beat.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going away soon. Now that we have this Senate twin to focus our gay energy on.
Right. But one of my favorite things is she quizzed him on civil rights leaders, and he was like, she was like, Marsha P. Johnson, and he was like, oh, I love her. And he's like, what about her do you love? And she's like, all of her work and stances. And she was like, you don't know who that is. He also didn't know who Harvey Milk was.
How does he not know who Harvey Milk is?
Wow, exactly.
Ethan, do you know who Harvey Milk is?
Ethan's not a congressman.
No, but also of a generation.
I guess that's
George
true.
Santos is like 35. Ethan's 20.
That's true.
Yeah, and I also probably wouldn't know without the movie at my, like, I know him mostly from the movie. Like, that was my first experience. But that came out when I was like, what, 15, 16?
Yeah. George Santos should know who Harvey Milk is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So also in the news this past week, this is actually a wild story. So 2 parole officers in a police car crashed through the front facade of a gay bar in St. Louis. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
And then the owners, which is a gay couple, they lived upstairs above the bar, obviously came downstairs and were like, oh my God, what is going on? And obviously we're a little upset. A car had driven through the front of their building. And because they were upset, the 2 people who drove into their building arrested one of them.
Yeah.
For like being belligerent.
They said he raised his arm to hit them.
I want to see the footage.
Yeah.
They immediately said that they had swerved to not hit a dog, and then later said that they had swerved to not hit a parked car.
You usually don't have to swerve to not hit.
Yeah, you just have to not.
They don't move.
Right. Yeah.
They're going down.
Yeah. I'm sure it was they were not paying attention and lost control of their car.
It was like 2 a.m. They were wasted. They're gonna find out that these cops were drunk.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Oof.
It was like late at night. I mean, get them. Take them to the house, y'all.
I just love that, driving into the front of a building and then being upset that they're mad and then arresting one of them.
That's very St. Louis cop.
Absolutely wild.
Story ongoing. We will report back on that when we know more.
Yeah, that's all I've got for news. Is there any local
Really?
news in that? Yeah.
Local news. Well, you guys, it's finally down in the 30s. It's cool and sunny today. If you're in town, you plan on going clamming, low tide is around noon.
1:30.
You're going to want to go out around noon for a low tide of 1:30 and get some clams.
Oh, another thing I read in the paper was PB Boulangerie is getting an Eiffel Tower.
Yes. How exciting.
Yeah, they applied. It's going to be 21 feet tall.
I guess this has been like a point of contention in Wellfleet. The neighbors did not want PB Boulangerie to have a 21-foot replica of the Eiffel Tower in their front yard. Neighbors were like, that's a sign. According to our local bylaws, you can't have a sign that big. And of course, the Boulangerie folks were like, it's a structure. It's a statue. It's not a sign. And they won. It took a while, but they won. So now you're going to get to see, and it's going to light up too.
It's going to be pretty.
A pretty twinkly Eiffel Tower in Wellfleet.
Question: what's on Bob's shirt?
Oh,
Just from the Mariah show.
There's an iconic interview where someone asks Mariah Carey about Jennifer Lopez, and she goes, "I don't know her," and refuses to answer questions
And they're
about
like,
her.
Jennifer Lopez? She's like, I don't know her. And this is already like 20 years ago, but people keep bringing it up to her. And there was a TikTok the other day where she saw somebody. She's like, they came out to like fix her hair, and she's like, what does that person's shirt say? I don't know her either. Oh my goodness. And I'm like, it's something that you wear to a Mariah show.
Let's go to Farland.
You
You hung out with
guys-
the Farland people?
These are two of the hardest working, best people I know, Jim Farley and Tom Boland. They're about to celebrate 20 years of Farland right there at the corner of Bradford and Conwell. Year-round public community resource. I love these guys so much. I got to spend a couple minutes chatting with them about their store. Check this out.
Buddy, I'm at Farland with the guys themselves, Jim Farley and Tom Boland. Far and Land. Aside from your last names, it feels like a perfectly named store for Provincetown. Like out here at the end of the world, where you've been for 20 years here?
The store, 20 years in 2024.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, do you have big plans for your 20th anniversary?
We're gonna give up cake.
Really?
Yeah.
What day?
I'll let you know.
Okay. May 4th.
Is it May 4th? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was your opening day in 2005?
Yeah.
Actually, we incorporated on May 4th and we opened up on May 22nd.
Amazing. In 2004 or 5?
2004.
2004. Wow.
Past 20 years.
Yeah. Open year round since you began?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a community hub. Like, there aren't that many places around here that are open all year for everybody. Like breakfast, noon, lunch, dinner, night, all day long.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was always our goal to just we felt like we needed to have a community space. So.
What did you guys do before this?
I was a nurse practitioner, both here in town. That was my last gig before we opened up this, and then a nurse prior to that at Mass General and in Illinois.
And I did historic preservation construction projects.
Really?
Yeah.
On the historic board here?
No, I was on the Historic District Study Committee, though, when that was created, and then we got the store, so, yeah.
And what was here before Farland?
For many years, well, it was originally the Nelson's Market in the 1950s, then it was the L&A Market. It was like a supermarket, and then it was McNulty's, 150 Marketplace, and then it was Bradford's for a few years, and then we had it.
Excellent. Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving?
Very good, very busy.
Yeah, crazy.
You guys do like dinners for people to take out of here?
Yeah. All the sides and pies. I think we did like 110 pies, 100 some odd pounds of cooked turkey. So.
Do the same thing for Christmas?
No.
Okay. Big holiday plans?
For Christmas, we close at noon on Christmas Eve and closed on Christmas Day and go home.
And chill.
And lock the door.
And I gotta tell you something. I don't know how long you've been doing this, but whatever app people use to order sandwiches ahead of time, like you build up points. And so like last week I went to order a sandwich and it was like, do you want to use your points to help pay for the sandwich? And I had like $8 worth of points and the sandwich was 12 cents or something. And I was like, I just got a sandwich for only 12 cents just by being a regular customer. How long have you been doing that?
Well, Toast came into being last May, so they started the rewards program. So that's our newest POS system, and it's worked out very well for that reason.
Yeah. The pandemic is what pushed us into doing an online ordering system, and it's been great.
Thank you so much for doing this, for being here. They're here all year. Jim, Tom, they're hardly ever out here. They're back there doing stuff. They're back here doing stuff. But come say hi to these guys. Order a sandwich online ahead of time. Sign up for an account. I'm telling you, it's so worth it. And also one of my favorite breakfast sandwich places too.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
And say hi when you come in.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for everything.
Nice
you do.
to see you.
You
All
too,
right,
always.
thanks.
I'll see you soon.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, so you guys, please go over and say hi to Tom and Jim and help them celebrate their 20th year.
That's wild.
Of Farland. I know.
It's one of my favorite places. I go all summer, but obviously in the winter, it's one of my favorite spots.
Yeah. And please welcome to the show for the first time, Michelle Stefani. This is your first visit, right?
Yes, it is.
Quinn Taylor, you've been with us before.
Thank you.
How you guys doing?
Very
We're
good.
here today to talk about coastal resiliency. So for those of you that don't know, as we were saying earlier, last year on December 23rd, there was a pretty nasty storm that caused some significant flooding and damage to a very specific section of the East End. And just when we thought we were like about a year clear of it, a storm on Monday came and essentially did the same thing to the same part of town.
Same parts of town.
Same parts of town. So what can we do? Tell us a little bit about your commission.
So it is Provincetown Coastal Resiliency Advisory Committee, and we are in the process of creating a request for proposal to get a consultant to help the town draft a plan. The beautiful thing about these plans is that once you have one in place, then we are more available to get grants and funding. And so we need a consultant to draft it with a professionalism that will allow us to go to the state government and move forward on making infrastructure improvements. Obviously, the town is commissioned us, so it's mainly infrastructure of the town, important places, but there's a whole private component as well. Yep, it's multifaceted, but we have to look at the sewer systems and the airport and the roadways and emergency access, and then look at how private homeowners can be protected better.
When I started thinking about coastal resiliency and what that might take, it just seems so astronomical to hold back a force like the ocean, especially on days like we saw this past Monday. What are the types of things what are the ideas that get thrown around that could help us in these kind of situations? Is it dunes? Is it levees? Like, what are the things that we can do?
So it gets specific to the area that you're looking at. People in this community have tried putting in sand dunes based on the recommendations, and that doesn't always work. Obviously, we know that there's this disconnected series of seawalls, and they have various impacts, whether they are present or too high or too low, and how they affect their neighbors. We really need to look at that in sections and create a set policy so that the homeowners aren't constantly rebuilding a sand dune that gets washed away with every storm. And there's plenty of people who have that story. And then the other people who are negatively impacted by a change along the shorefront that their neighbors have done. And you're not alone. And that's what we really want to share, the message that people need to work together. And it needs to be a cohesive plan for the town at large. Several things are the potential of raising the roadways, even small increments, not significantly necessarily, because I know that initial thought is how high are you going to raise it and how negatively that would impact everybody. But then other improvements there's tons of designs, and I read a lot about New York and Sandy and all the new designs that they've put in place. Obviously, breakwaters are a part of the design. The wave attenuator is a benefit to a lot of people, which is running parallel to the Provincetown warfare, McMillan Pier. That was put in
just a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're getting,
to
10
keep
plus years.
a lot of boats from getting like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And it works. It's wild to watch. It really does. On one side of it, it is chaos and bedlam. On just like 4 feet wide, this thing is, and it goes up and down. It's flat, like concrete looking. It's complete, not flat, but it's very moderated compared to what's literally 5 feet over. It's wild how it works.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And it does submerge. It's actually fairly low in the water so it can break that wave action. There's lots of studies on various ways to break up the waves, and it's just the different shapes of seawalls and how it can get the water not to go over the seawall, as Quinn and I were discussing earlier. But when the waves or any type of water gets inward, landward, you start to get into trouble. So trying to break up that water even as it's splashing, but to keep it off the properties. So.
And I mean, I think when we booked you to come on the show to talk about this, we were like, oh, it's a kind of the 1 year anniversary of that bad storm from last year. And I was hoping that we could kind of like celebrate a little. I know you're not hoping to be the poster boy of this, but like you kind of got the brunt of it both times.
Literally. Poster boy or not, it has to be talked about. And if it has to be me helping her get her commission taken seriously and make impact, then I'm happy to do it. See what it's impossible to hold back Mother Nature. She wants what she wants. She's going to take it. All we can try to do, and we've talked about this a lot, is slow her down, give her some pushback. She's always going to win, but we have to have a fighting chance. And if someone changes the landscape of a dune or of the coast, then others are impacted exponentially more, and that has to be adjusted. And she's talking about that with the commission, as well as Tim Familari at Cape Cod Coast Commission is also working with Michelle and her group to figure those Herculean problems, frankly, out and make them fixable, not just endless paperwork and endless commission studies and endless things. Things have to happen. As we discussed earlier, storms don't take a holiday.
Right.
They're coming. And my house, built in 1863, has flooded 3 times, twice in the last year.
That's the
Once in
scary
1974, and then the 1974 was not coastal; it was more rain flood, natural flooding, I'd say, as opposed to what's happened. And I think it was 74, 75. St. Mary's seawall went in, and seawalls work. They need to go higher now because the tides are higher, the ocean's higher. Right. They need to go higher. Sorry about your view, kids. Walk around it, go to the end, take a boat to Long Point to get your view.
Yeah, and it kind of doesn't matter what the view looks like if your house is gone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're gone. I watched what it is almost happened last year for an individual. So it's very real, and it's you were talking. I won't mention about what someone is holding up a whole process because of the view. I'm on the zoning board. We don't necessarily protect the view. Sorry, that's not how this works. And if there's no town, there's no view. Yeah. And at some point, a connected seawall or whatever it has to happen, and you're going to figure that out quickly. It will. It would be nice. It would be nice to have sat here and told you that what happened on Monday was not that bad. Luckily, I will say Jim Vincent is a hero in my opinion, as is Tim Familari and the DPW. The drains on Farland, which last year I think there's a pump system, was not working and was clogged. And Oriana got it so far back as Bradford Street, and she lost her store. That worked. This year, Farland did its job. Those drains drained, the pumps worked, and it got the water moving, and it got it moving out. So as it was coming over the Ice House parking lot, it was directed, sadly, to Daggett Lane, which is private and there's no drainage, but it did go down Farland. They kept trying to direct it that way, and it worked. Last year, Farland when Peter Sullivan and I walked out with my luggage, it was up to here on Farland. This year it was up to here. And that made a huge difference. I would have lost everything all over again if it had not been for something like as simple as cleaning drain, getting the pump system to work. That was hugely life-saving for me and my neighbors again. And the whole side of Farland on that side really were saved because of that system being mined by the town and working.
And the sandbagging was a mitigating factor as well this time.
People won't say that out loud, but I could with my own eyes. I saw it last year coming, and it was coming in this high. This year, it was coming more from Coast Ice House, more readily, and then St. Mary's and the properties in between, it was more this high, which is more manageable than this.
Right.
Certainly when it's freezing cold and crazy currents.
I want to talk a little about your experience over the past year, because so often these things happen. Everyone gets on community space, everyone talks about it, everyone supports it, and then probably a week or two later, it kind of goes to the back of people's minds. But I know for the people affected, it affects you for so much longer. How has the last year been in the process of getting your home back up to livable condition?
Well, great friends have made my life a lot better than many lives that were affected. Oriana, luckily, when she realized that her property was going to be safe this time, she came running across the street to help me and to help our neighbors. So it's impossible to quantify how one deals with it. You just deal with it. It was inspiring to see friends jump and run to help me, putting in sandbags. They joked about having to fill them. They were filled for us by the town. Thank you, town.
We love that.
Having pallets of sandbags delivered is help. So when you see that the town does take care of its own, I'll say, certainly my friends did, and they're the town, it makes it a lot easier to do. And in terms of all the with the inspections and all that stuff over the course of town hall and the time, everybody was very helpful, very efficient. Obviously I'm a special case in that it was a known property that was destroyed, and people were on board to getting it up and running faster than maybe it would have been any other time, because it was so public and so obvious what had happened, and somebody had been affected. I mean, insurance is a nightmare. Contractors are great, but it's a nightmare. It's a small town. There's only so many people that can, do electricity, do plumbing, do HVAC stuff. So it's complicated, but again, with great friends, a lot of wine. You're welcome. Wineries around town. Around town. It's you just do. I have to say though, when it happened again, I said a bad word several times.
I can imagine.
Out loud. And it was fuck. And I was like, oh my God. What? And it's happening again. We were talking about this just a second ago. I thought I actually was up at the second floor landing, looking down. Of course, the shingles were like missiles flying around the town, all over town. Shingles were a nightmare further east than us. A lot of people lost their whole roofs. That's a nightmare. And they're also flying around and they can be deadly. But I was looking down at it was 26 minutes to go. We're going to dodge this. I got a text, and it was trickling down Daggett Lane. Trickling. So by the time I get 2 flights of stairs down to my kitchen, literally it was coming in my back gate again. And that's when I said, oh, fuck it. You're like, crazy. Not
this again.
And I called Peter Sullivan and said, it's happening again. And that's a phrase you don't like to hear very often in your lifetime. But anyway, a lot of people in the neighborhood have banded together. As Michelle's, one of her theses is to have community, communication with your neighbors. So I got that text. So I ran downstairs. I began moving sandbags around, trying to shove it to go one direction or the other because it wasn't too deep yet. It was still manageable height, depth. So if I hadn't had that text, I might have been looking at the view, not realizing, oh my God, it's
coming in the back gate.
In the backyard again. So that kind of communication we started last year. And when Lee happened, Hurricane Lee was threatening us, and these other storms have been threatening us. We all communicate with the town. Leslie Sandberg, Alex, Tim, and Jim Vincent have all been very responsive, readily available at any moment, which on a weekend or on a Sunday and it's crucial. They're there. So
that's great.
I don't know about other towns, but this town is as lucky in that regard. And I know she's working. Her committee's working with other towns on the Cape that have this in place. It's right there, resiliency, the agenda, and that's great because obviously in Nantucket, people are doing this around the Cape, and we can't be the last to the party.
Right.
We should usually Provincetown is leading in certain things. In this case, I think the town needs to support this commission and be vocal about making changes and improvements on their recommendations, funding, etc.
We also probably have the most densely populated waterfront than any other place on the Cape, I'd imagine, because Provincetown Commercial Street, house. You don't really see that in other towns, so it's a lot of people affected with even just a small portion floods.
I know down the garden further east also got flooded again. Louise's garden, Suzanne's garden, I think also got flooded again. That area again, houses being raised, got impacted equally as bad as we did again.
Right. So it's seemingly the same flow.
It was the same because it was the same exact direct wind.
What is Nantucket doing? What does their plan look like?
Some seawall structures, some raising of structures. They have the unique, seaport with the ferries coming in, and that's their major vulnerability. So they have an extensive plan. A lot of the plans look at short-term and longer-term. One thing we know, the sea level is rising, and we are going to be more susceptible to storms and flooding and erosion. So taking all that into account, you can plan and make changes for the next 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. And obviously the 100-year changes are going to be more significant. So how do you slowly scale it up so that it's not such a heavy impact? Meaning that the FEMA recommendations for raising a house at sea level is to go up 12 feet or some number. And how do we not have this hodgepodge of houses at some raised, some not, some people can't afford to, some people never will, and balancing that out and maintaining the streetscape and the quality of what is Provincetown.
Right. And
it actually, we are very dense, and we're also very dense with historic structures, and that makes a big difference in looking at the planning. The HTC had a meeting in September 6th, which was really informative, and you don't exactly have to go up that high. You get the most funding from FEMA, but the town has to strike a balance, and Cape Cod in general is working to establish guidelines, and Massachusetts is working to reestablish guidelines so that we can make improvements without ruining the town.
I was talking to Julian about this last night, and he said that the state has funded a statewide coastal resiliency program. So hopefully you all will be working together and trying to figure out options. I do want to talk a little about this book. It's a homeowner's handbook to coastal hazards. What kind of information can we get in this?
Amazing things. No, it was presented at a meeting where Quinn was also present. And obviously, if you have a home that you're not currently retrofitting, you might not do everything in that handbook. They make it seem like, these are options for anybody, but within reason. There is ways of raising your structure and still making it look like it's a home underneath and not an open space. There's ways of protecting your roof, how to protect the exterior, and what to do before, after, and during. There's lots of interesting information. Every time I'd turn a page, I would be like, you guys, we have to know this, and we have to think about this. Some of it takes financial cost, but in being presented, it shows that obviously you may gain by doing some work in advance. If your structure is completely enclosed, it's more protected than if you have anything open where the wind can blow through and do more damage. It's not all specific to Provincetown, and I hope that the committee will be able to give even more specific recommendations to Provincetown, and that is one of the things that we'll look for is a toolkit for homeowners. Again, this is the town sector and the private sector, but we are going to work for homeowners like Quinn to be able to be comfortable and have a house that's less vulnerable.
Right.
The town does work with to reduce the insurance rates by making improvements in our infrastructure, and that benefits everybody.
Where can anyone pick these?
Library and town hall. They're
Perfect.
always there. Yep. And so the other thing is that people should be on the town-wide alert system. And as Quinn and I were saying, just have a sense of community around your neighborhood. There are people who actually don't know their neighbors or don't communicate with their neighbors. One of our big concerns, of course, is homes that aren't occupied in the winter. We do believe people should have someone to keep an eye on your home. And it's a network, so.
How can we as a community get involved or at least knowledgeable about coastal resiliency?
Thank you. Town of Provincetown website has a lot of information. I just think it's important to know that the Coastal Resilience Advisory Committee is a temporary board. So to find our page you have to go to the temporary board pages and look at our meetings. Come on in. We always have public comments. And when Quinn came to speak, I said to him personally, we want to hear what you have to say. We want to document the information that you have, share pictures with us, and we want a database of information. We need your input. We want to make sure that the community is involved in the process. And we learned that from conversations with other communities, and you can't just stand alone. So the town participate, and it's really nice when people do come and have something to say or something to share, or just to listen and have more information.
And the next meeting is January 31st.
Yes, there's a public forum on January 31st.
Oh, your birthday?
Indeed.
Yep. Will be a cupcake for you.
Don't store things in your basement.
Thank
Do
you.
not store things on the ground of your basement. They will not be covered by insurance. They don't care.
Really?
Get things off the ground. Don't store hazardous chemicals in your basement where they become toxic soup in a flood.
Oof.
All of these are just like practical things. People need to know because we've all done it.
Right. It's a little concerning and frustrating to see that the biggest pushback is for things like views, aesthetics, historic. What do you say to those people?
Go.
Michelle?
I'm just going to say, be involved in the process so that there is a consensus, so that I think that comes from a place of not having the whole story or all the information. It came up in the meeting, but you want to be alone in this town? You're the last man standing? So,
be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, like your view is not as important as somebody else's home, I would argue.
Yeah.
You know?
And also it's like, what if you're like, but the building's historic, and I fully agree, but at the same time it's like, what does it matter if something's historic if it washes into the ocean in 4 years? You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think historic, Michaela. Historic, I don't think they have. I'm not going to speak for her. From what I hear from homes, I'm on the zoning board. When a home is raised before zoning and it goes before historic, I can't think of an issue where it was a problem for either of us to raise it. It was a question of how and where. And the zoning, we don't protect a view. So I know Captain Poor Richard's Landing, I think at some point it's supposed to raise itself, and people were screaming about views back then. This is a while ago, but at some point, if we have to, we have to, and we can't legislate a view.
Yeah.
We have to protect the property itself, not necessarily a view. And people get mad about a view, but also there's more to this town than just a view.
Yeah.
A lot more
It's the
than just a
people.
view.
It's the people, their homes.
It's T-Dance, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that house is gone, so is that tax base.
Oh,
That
that's
house
true.
rate, like,
That's
it-
true.
It affects everybody.
Right. And that's what we need to see. It does affect everybody, and it might not be exactly what you envisioned is going to be happening in this town. I'm from here. I love this town. I got really involved in the breakwater information so that people would have the full picture of what's going on. There has always been conversations about what to do with it. And that's a huge part of our coastal resilience. So isn't the marsh that...
To extend, not to interrupt you, to extend the one by in front of the pier, to extend that
sorry,
one?
well, it's the Long Point Dike to be
Okay.
specific. Using a local term, if you will. But that is being considered to open it up, a portion of it, to allow a more natural flow of water. The fish that people are catching out in the ocean start there, and the crabs are taking over the grasses and really diminishing the natural habitat there. Again, flooding occurs in that part of town already, and the grass would actually, the marsh grass is a place to absorb some of the excess water, and we're losing that. So we're losing our resiliency. And I'm not saying what needs to happen. I'm saying it would be, we need to research it. And when we do get information of what's best practice, we, the community, be supportive. I had conversations with all kinds of people and got incredible pushback and really negative attitudes sometimes, which surprised me because I was just trying to research it.
Right.
Again, no one's saying we're definitely putting a hole in the Long Point Dike. I understand the shell fishermen want to keep that in its current state because they think that that's best for everything. But we need to know what is best.
Right.
And have had conversations with shell fishermen who say adamantly that can't happen. And then other ones who say, well, I want what's best for our community. And that's really where we're trying to get with it. We're not trying to ruin anybody's businesses. And that's, I think, what starts to be this negative attitude. Well, what I have learned, what our attitude is let's make it workable for everybody. And there may be some larger measures that have to happen. It doesn't sound great when you listen to raise the roads, but it will work for a huge segment of the street. That,
you also have to consider, what if we don't?
Right. Yep.
Well, if we do nothing, we know what will happen.
Yeah, right.
We literally know what will happen if we do nothing.
Yep.
And that's very upsetting.
Right.
Yep. Yep. And that's where I began the meetings, actually, was we can do nothing. We don't have to make changes. And if we don't, then we're going to live with the consequences. I'm not saying necessarily that planning ideally for at the 100-year mark right now is necessary, but basically you start the process, you make improvements on a lot of our infrastructure. And in time, we're ahead of the game. And like we said earlier, the town is a little bit behind, in my opinion. The committee was put into the books in 2020, and we didn't really begin our work until this year. They knew we needed this committee, and we really do need the full community to do the work.
Right. So. Like it's been down the lane place, but who knows who's going to be next time? So don't think it won't affect you.
Well, 4 years ago it was the Weston,
right?
Yep.
I mean, same thing, and then the storm came from the southeast.
Yeah, the West End Inn didn't open that whole year after the yard flooded.
Yeah, but it did. But yeah. So even further east than me, I took it on the chin again. So it's going to happen. Just whether it's not really a question of just when. It is going to continue to happen.
Right.
Again, my house was flooded 3 times, twice in 1 year. And that's kind of remarkable.
That's scary.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for all the work you're doing, and thank you for keeping us abreast. I encourage everyone to get involved in pick up one of these handbooks. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
I stopped by the Provincetown Businesss Guild office yesterday to hang out with their brand new staff. We've got 3 incredible people in charge. Take it away.
Good morning, everyone. We are at the new Provincetown Pride Center with the brand new staff of the Provincetown Businesss Guild. Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Hi, Harry. Thanks for having us on again.
It's so funny. It's like all of our wake up crew.
Yeah, we see each other every Friday, but it's a little different today.
Right? We wear many hats.
That's the name of the game in Provincetown, right?
Right.
Yeah.
First, tell me a little about the Provincetown Pride Center. It looks amazing in here. So much local, amazing art going on right now.
Thanks. Yeah. So this is the kind of restaged LGBTQ plus welcome center, which opened pre-pandemic with the PBG. Actually, right out here on the driveway was the original iteration called the Shack. And I think the first activation was a exhibition of all the old carnival posters, a lot of which we have upstairs now and eventually we'll show in this space.
Oh, that's so cool.
But having a larger formal space in which the PBG can host some of our own events, but also feature our members. Like this summer we have a show featuring PAGA, the Provincetown Arts and Gallery Association. We're going to do a couple of queer artists from each of their spaces that then directs traffic to our business members from the PBG. Right now we have a show in partnership with the Commons that has primarily LGBTQ plus artists that are here living all year round and are working out of the Commons. And it's called Decked. And it's going to be open on Friday the 29th. During the gallery stroll from 4 to 7 p.m. and then Saturday, we've sold some works of art during the Holly Folly show, so we're excited to have it open again.
Amazing. Carmen, you're kind of just on board, just now.
Freshly this month.
Nice. Just in time for First Light Weekend. What do we got going on that weekend?
It's pretty packed. You can find everything on our website, ptown.org/firstlight. We've got the Decked opening event or gallery exhibit event. We have firework displays. There's Well Hung at Town Hall, one show only Saturday. There's going to be bingo at Crown and Anchor with Mackenzie and Austin. And then the Polar Plunge. If you haven't signed up, you can sign up in a group. You can sign up individually. That is going to be the first of the year.
I've seen some of my friends getting in the water. I'm not sure if it's making me more excited to get in or less.
We're all going to
We're going to do it as a team this year. Yeah.
Andy, you just got brought on as the admin person for the PBG. I'm sure wrangling to a full-time job. Are you excited to get going?
I'm very excited. It's been an experience to kind of immerse myself in the business community for the good of all the businesses that we know, and it's definitely an empowering spot to be in.
Yeah, and this team looks very amazing and very capable. I'm really excited to see what y'all do. Any new, fresh, exciting things we've got going on for 2024?
We're just kind of getting into the planning stages and getting everyone onboarded and familiarized. But we've got some cool stuff planned for Pride and Bear Week already. For Pride in this space, we're going to be partnering with a queer group of Nigerian artists called Obodo. They're going to be coming over from Lagos and presenting a couple of different artists in the space with performance art. They're going to be incorporated into the Pride Rally. Wow. Something else I'm really excited about is a new program that we're piloting this year called Summer One Provincetown. The idea is to bring first-time Provincetown visitors from the ages of 21 to 29 to town. We're going to partner with a bunch of our lodgers. They're going to offer rooms at cost to turn them over to the PBG. We will purchase those rooms and then create a lottery system whereby folks in their 20s can apply to come to Provincetown for $50 a night. We're really excited about that. We're hoping to get maybe 20 to 30 folks this year. But I think the most important thing of that program is the message that Provincetown understands that it's become less accessible and that we're open to creating new ways for people to come here, and that we really want those visitors. Because if we don't introduce Provincetown to folks in their 20s, which is when most of us first came here, then they're not going to be coming in their 30s and 40s, and they won't be buying art in their 50s and buying a home in their 50s or 60s. So it's important to establish those relationships now.
Yeah, most people fall in love with Provincetown in their 20s, and then it turns into all those things. So we have
Absolutely. Less than 6% of our visitorship is under the age of 35, which is a pretty astounding number. You know, of course, we want to focus on all of our returning visitors and the people that are really familiar with the town and really bring a lot of commerce into the town. You know, the Gen Z, they spend around $2,100 on a vacation, whereas the boomers maybe $5,500 on a vacation. So it's important to play both games. And I don't think those demographics are going to stop coming if we do some more focusing on the folks who maybe don't get as much representation in town. Women, younger visitors, people of color, queer people of color, the trans community. We need to make sure that we're inviting those people to our space and creating room for them to be here, feel represented in Provincetown, and so that we feel like we're sharing the gift of Provincetown with them.
I'm really excited. That's really cool stuff. I just want to say congratulations to the new team. I know you're going to do some amazing work, continuing on the work that you and Steven have done for the past few years. A big thank you to Steven for really doing some amazing work while you were here, but you've left it in very capable hands. I'm really excited to see y'all moving forward.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Thanks. Of course.
Really exciting stuff going on over at the PBG. I'm really excited to see what they do.
Me too.
Yeah. That's it. Our last show before Christmas. We want to wish everyone a very happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah.
Have fun with your family or your chosen family, whichever you're going to hang with this holiday. Yeah. And thanks for hanging with us on Wake Up. We want to thank our sponsors, the Crown and Anchor, Provincetown Businesss Guild, the Provincetown Brewing Company, Shipwreck at the Brass Key, as well as the Boat Slip.
Yeah, we only have one more show this year.
I know.
And it's 2024. You guys, thank you for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
And we'll see you next Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown.